Today on Into the Ring, Out of the Box, there's no gimmicks needed.
That's right. We got the original San Francisco toy makers, Chris Candido ECW action figure.
So stay tuned. Let's take a look at this guy out of the package.
That's right.
Hey, this is Matthew.
And this is Rich from RageWorks.
Welcome to Nerd News Today, and it's time for another episode of Into the Ring, Out of the Box, Extreme Edition.
That's right.
And we got no gimmicks needed, Chris Candido right here, from original San Francisco Toy Makers, 1999. This is Series 1 of their ECW action figures. And I will add, this is original 1999 mold on his package.
That's right. You probably will need to disinfect and go in a hazmat suit after this, but that's all right.
I'm going to burn that packaging.
That's it.
So as you can see in the box, it's the exact same package that we've seen in every other ECW figure so far from OSFT, the classic red and yellow. The only thing that's different on these figures is just the bubble and the name card over there in the front. And the back shows us who else is in this line, most of whom we've already looked at this point. So if you haven't seen those yet, what the heck's wrong with you?
The Chris Candido action figure has, once again, a signature forearm smash, as we've seen in some of the other ECW figures. Chris Candido actually used, I believe, the forearm in one of his many incarnations, whether it was during his WWE run or ECW, so I believe that the forearm smash for him is fitting as well.
Yeah. I think it'll be a pretty useful feature as well for a lot of his moves that he does.
Right.
But we'll test that once we get him out of the box.
That's it. Let's crack him open.
Rich, would you like to do the honors?
Sure. A little mold never hurt nobody.
I'm pretty sure that's wrong, but go for it anyway. And here's our Chris Candido out of the package.
Yep.
What do you think about that face sculpt?
That face sculpt is very weird. He has a little bit of a, it's strange because he has like a grimace, but also kind of like an angry face going on. Not a face I remember Candido making. He usually was either very stoic or he had like a nice shit-eating grin, like a smirk.
Yeah. I think it's not too bad. I mean, when you look at it from another angle, it's definitely better. The smirk is a little too cartoony.
Yes.
But if you look at him from like the profile, like it's totally him. The hair is him.
Oh yeah, the hair is him. You know what it is? The smirk reminds me of like an action figure from like the Cops toy line of the 80s.
He's one of the bad guys.
Yep,
He's one of the crooks.
That's it.
So he has his tattoo as well on this arm, which is nice attention to detail there. He's got his blue socks, Chris Candido boots. Generally speaking, Chris Candido has a pretty basic outfit.
He does.
So,
very, very default.
Yeah, there's really not much you could say about that. So Chris had one repaint after this figure, and that was towards the very end of the line. It was part of their Thrill Zone wave.
Okay.
And he had yellow pants, yellow trunks, and yellow boots, and black knee pads.
I feel like one outfit that he used to wear had the tassels on the boots. Am I right?
I think so, or a lot of people seem to confuse him with like Shane Douglas for some
Shane
odd
Douglas
reason.
had the tassels, that's for sure.
Yeah, Shane had tassels.
But he was also in a faction with Shane Douglas.
Yes, he was, yeah. So a lot of people seem to meld them together for whatever reason, because they're kind of similar body-wise and even move-wise. They did fit together pretty well. But I do think the specific era this is from was around the time when he was actually tag team champ / feuding with Lance Storm in like late 98, roughly.
Okay.
Somewhere around that time period, not entirely sure, but it's pretty close to that point in time.
Yeah, I think, the late Chris Candido, he had such a crazy career. He was a guy that was always viewed as a future Hall of Famer, a guy who had an incredibly high ring IQ. His career was cut short. He passed away from a blood clot of all things. I mean, he had many recorded battles with substance abuse over the years, but towards the end of his life, he had cleaned himself up. I believe he was actually being scouted for a possible return to WWE at the time. But overall, just a great performer, and I think that the fact that he actually had like 2 action figures in the line, and I feel that maybe he had a body done as action figure. There's a part of me that thinks that it's possible that it was like a pack with him and Sonny.
I think this might have been his only figure ever.
Really?
Yeah. Yeah, this actually is his one and only figure, believe it or not. But he actually is getting one coming soon from Figures Toy Company. They're going to finally make one.
Really?
And it's going to be basically in the Jack's Ruthless Aggression scale.
Okay.
So it'll fit in with a lot of other toys, which is pretty nice. So it's many years too late, but we're getting a new figure of him finally, and that's actually pretty great because he was a very underrated wrestler.
He definitely was. I mean, when Taz won the ECW title from Shane Douglas, I mean, that was apex, like the faction wars with Taz, and ECW invading Monday Night Raw was happening at that time. So there was just so many great iconic moments, and Candido's involvement in some of those definitely is something that can't be ignored. Chris comes with the signature ECW trash can lid.
Straight out of the bingo hall.
That's it, straight out of the bingo hall, to go alongside many of the other trash cans and trash can lids we have from other figures. So again, as we've said before, lots of plunder. If you are trying to collect any more of these ECW figures, you'll end up having a pretty decent lineup of different weapons to use when it's all said and done. Yep, and he has the Forearm Smash, and Poseability on the figure is pretty good. He has a very strange leg joint, which was supposed to be, I guess, for a dynamic pose.
I'm not even sure why it's like that. It's kind of weird.
And it feels like it's one leg makes the leg look shorter than the other.
Yeah, it's a very awkward stance. It reminds me a lot of like when Playmates did a lot of their Star Trek toys in the very beginning. They had several figures, and some of their Ninja Turtles had that too. They had very weird leg stances where they could basically only be in one pose.
Yep. Or the Turtles would have that weird toe bend, like some of the characters, and it would fall forward because you were supposed to pose it that the toe bend was just right.
That's essentially what's happening here, and I don't like that either. That's actually a big down point for me. In fact, I can very clearly remember finding these ECW toys at Toys R Us and seeing tons of Chris Candidos, and I think the face and this weird knee are probably why.
Yeah, I think that one of the things about ECW, regardless of whether you were a collector of the figures or just a fan of the product, is that any wrestlers that weren't, I guess, pushed heavily, meaning just involved in meaningful feuds and things like that, they just never got the right fan appeal. Like if you weren't Sabu or Rob Van Dam or Taz or any of those guys, like all the other ones were, they were utility players, versus when Candido was in WWE at one point or WWF back then, he was being groomed for something bigger. In ECW, he was just there.
It's kind of there, yeah.
Yep.
He deserved better wherever he went, ultimately.
Yep, because he was definitely a good performer. Definitely delivered solid matches whenever he went out there with any opponent.
So why don't we go ahead and try out our Chris Candido action feature on another hapless victim?
That's it. And today's victim, once again, Lance Storm.
Poor Lance Storm. So these guys do actually have a history together. That's why I was referencing their tag team, because I believe this is actually an outfit that Lance Storm wore while he was a tag team partner with Chris Candido.
That's right.
They were tag team champions, but they hated each other, and they ultimately broke up because I believe Chris thought that Tammy and Lance were doing stuff, and you know how that goes.
Yep, good old ECW writing at its best.
Yeah. So let's go ahead and test out that Forearm Smash first and foremost, because I'm pretty sure that's going to be no problem. Oh, this is going to hurt.
Oh.
Maybe not. It's very stiff. All right. Oof, you heard that?
That's it.
Just busting them open hard way.
That's it, a little clunk.
I remember the old commercials. They had Tommy Dreamer doing uppercuts to dudes, but instead we just have Candido smack Lance Storm around with a trash can to live for a while. Would you like to give it a try?
And with a little splash with the trash can lid, there it is.
Oh, nice. But to me, best of all, I think with most of these ECW figures, you can usually do their finishing move somehow. So I'm pretty sure that Chris can actually do a powerbomb to Lance Storm. So get him up, and I think because he's got that action feature, he should be able to do this.
Yep.
Not bad. Yeah, that works. Works for me.
He had a submission move too, but definitely can't do that because of the leg. The way the legs are situated, definitely not.
And just for good measure.
Little ring barrier action.
Stay away from Tammy.
That's it.
Lance Storm, get out of here.
That's it. Lance Storm, sunny days are behind you.
So that's our look at original San Francisco toy makers Chris Candido from ECW Series 1. It's not one of my favorites, but it's better than I thought it was going to be. Yeah, definitely a better action figure, all things considered. And the fact that they even made an action figure of Chris Candido speaks volumes of just, what original San Francisco Toys was trying to accomplish. So they definitely captured a lot of major players, but also Impact players. Oh, I see what you did there. There you go. So, Rich, how do folks find out more about you and RageWorks? You can visit us at rageworks.net, your one-stop shop for rants and reviews about gaming, entertainment, and the works. You can also find us on social media. Instagram is usually one of our best methods of engagement. You can also find us on Twitter, rage_works. But as always, visit us on rageworks.net or look for us on YouTube at Official RageWorks. So I'm Matthew. I'm Rich. See you guys next time with some more action figure reviews. Peace.